Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Apparently we have a bad dryer. So I know this is not a car or truck or something like that, but sometimes I'll give you guys something else. So basically it works, it runs, it turns on, it shuts off, everything's fine except for there's no heat. So 9 times out of 10 that's going to be a heating element, which is located right here. It's inside there. So we have to take the front panel off. We have to take the electronics. We have to take this off. It's not too bad. And basically what we have to do is we have to know what our model number is. So this one right here is a DV410 AER/XAA. But if you type in Samsung dryer heater element in Amazon, it'll pull up just about every dryer that Samsung makes, and it's fairly cheap. But we're going to take you through this repair process in just a minute. So before we begin this dryer repair, always disconnect your electrical connection from the wall, or do it at the breaker, because we're potentially having dangerous voltages present. So it's safer, especially since this is 240 volts. Be careful. So basically I pulled it out of the wall first, away from the wall. It's really heavy, and there's a water connection down there. There's an electrical connection. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these 2 screws off. There's 2 on the top, and we're gonna pop it back this way and lift up, and it should expose the stuff I need to get that off with. All right, once you get the two screws out, they are screws, but you can use a ratchet to get them off too. Once that happens, you just push kind of hard, and this thing pops right off. Next up, when you get the top off, you'll notice it's dusty. We can clean that up later, but apparently you can take these little clips off, but I would rather just unscrew this and unscrew that, and we'll pull it gently off. I don't want to break anything. And be careful when it's a little older, little plastic bits become brittle, so be careful. So I told you about the plastic bits, right? Well, I just broke one of them. Here's one of the tabs, 2, there's one there, and then that other one broke there. But it's okay, because there's like 5 other ones that hold it on. Just move this out of the way. The little tabs right here, they're in their little holders right here. You gotta pull it up kind of hard, and it pops. So be careful. You actually don't need to disconnect this. The electrical connectors are here. Just set it up here, because here's that tab that broke. Not a big deal, but it's still annoying because I wanted to keep it all good. But anyway, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take these 4 screws off, and then there's a bunch of screws. There's one here, there's one here, here. These need to come off, but you can keep this on, and this thing will pop right off. So stand by. Also, what I like to do is the screws that held this plastic piece on here, I'm just gonna put it back. I'm gonna put them back where they go, so I don't lose where they go. That way I don't have a bunch of screws left over at the end saying, man, how did I end up with all these screws? So just place them in the holes. The other ones that, maybe that's not the right hole. Maybe that's the hole. I don't know. It's more or less up here. Just keep the screws here. That's a good rule of thumb. And then the other one, the other top panel, I kept the screws with that one as well. But ideally I could have put it back here, but I didn't want to run the risk of dropping it back there. I didn't really want to. I should clean behind that dryer while I have it out, but ideally, we're trying to get this thing done. All right. Okay, I've taken all 4 of the screws from the top, And if you notice, these are two little retainers here. There's a retainer here and a retainer here, and those kind of line up everything whenever you put it back. But as you can see, we're gonna have to lift this piece up and out. But let me tell you something about this. So these two screws here are machine screws, and they're these. All right, see the machine threads? And then these two screws are different. They're more of a, I don't know, a metal screw thread. So keep those separate. And basically all you gotta do is shut the door, right? And then lift, well, it's hard to lift it when you shut the door. Okay, lift it, and when you lift, you gotta kind of give it a little bit, but when you're able to lift it off, there's a connector back here. You're gonna disconnect the connector and go ahead and set this thing aside. In hindsight, I did not need to take these two off because you see these little dimples? Those dimples are recesses for where they go. So I went ahead and put them back in the door. They secure the lock on the door securely. There's two other ones that do it, but I don't know, just two small screws, and I've placed them here so I know where they go. All right, so let me go get a flashlight. But basically, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it out. Our heater assembly is here. This is a mount bracket. You're gonna need to take the mount bracket out. Okay, so basically, you're gonna wanna take, there's a screw that goes here. All right, that holds this bracket on. And basically, when you take that screw off, the back of this thing, can you see it in there? The back of this thing will come off with all the sensors and everything in there. It should be enough to pull it out. Don't try to take these two screws off on the bottom down there. Let me show you. Yeah, don't take these two off unless they're easy to take out, but mine are kind of seized in there. Basically, you don't need to take that mounting bracket off. You just need to take this off. All right, pull it on out. So mine's having a little bit of trouble getting out because it won't make it past this opening. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these screws out of this, and this is where all the dryer lint could possibly get kept. So I need to take that off anyway to make sure it's clean. And once I get this off, I'll have plenty of room to take that heating element out. Okay, so when I took that out, look at all that dryer lint. This is gonna cause an imbalancing type of situation, but look at that. That could have made it inside the heating element, could have started a fire. So we gotta, this could be something that you do regularly to keep the maintenance up on these dryers. And it's just gonna help it run better if you get all the lint and stuff out of here. That way, when this thing spins, it spins freely and it doesn't waste energy, and it doesn't throw lint inside the heating element. All right. Okay, so I got it out, but notice I had to take out this after all. So just stick with it. Take out the two screws that hold that in, and basically there's tabs, and you lift up and you pull out and it comes right out. Something else to note, let me see if I can show you. Right in there, you're gonna see two tabs, and I'm gonna put arrows. Two tabs. Those two tabs in the exhaust area correlate to these two divots. All right, so when you line it up, you're gonna have to put this in and line up the two divots, and it should snap. Well, not snap, but it should sit right where it needs to be. So we're gonna be very careful. We're gonna put this in later, but right now you can kind of see we have two sensors here, and we also have the heating element, which is in here. I'm gonna have to take this clamshell off. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these sensors. I'm gonna take these sensors off of the main box right here. Shouldn't be that hard. The big one goes in the middle. The skinny one goes on towards the exhaust. Again, check to see if these screws are all the same. If they are, they're okay to be interchanged with each other, but just be be careful, don't try to force the wrong screw in the wrong place. And later on, whenever I put it all back together, I will change, these screws are the same, but I will change these sensors one at a time so I don't mix them up, the wiring especially. Good. That one, and then we're going to pull these. I'm going to pull these off kind of carefully. This should pop right off. And the red one goes. The red one goes towards the bottom bend of this. Red and blue. All right. So let's take this off. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws we're going to need to take out. So let's make quick work of this. Ooh, not too quick. They're all the same screw. Saves money. All right, lift it off. Apparently there's a tab. There's a bent tab right here. So we will just bend it. I guess we don't need to take it all the way out. But anyway, here's our heating element. Let's see if there's any obvious damage. Well, there's the obvious damage. See that? It's separated right there. That's our problem. So it just overheated and did its thing. So we're going to take this heating element out. But in order to do that, we got to take these out. But usually there's a tab that's... There's a tab on there that needs to be bent to get it out. Okay. So if you look right here, I'm sorry, here we go. If you look right here, there's a tab that's bent down. See that? That protects it from backing out. So what we'll do is we'll just unbend that because we're gonna take this one out anyway. So later on when we put the new one in, we're gonna go ahead and bend it to where it stays. You don't want to break this. This is ceramic, so be careful with that. But now it should back out. Once we bend that tab in, it should back out. If not, pull it forward a little bit. Oh, sorry, you can't see it. If not, pull it forward a little bit and bend it out. Anyway, basically I'm going to pull that. Came right off. I'm going to pull these out. It shouldn't matter the orientation. But I'm going to pull these out. Just kind of wiggle them and pull them, and they come right out. See that? They're coming out. I just don't want to. There's one. And there's the other. Here's our bad element. We're going to put the new element in there. I'm going to kind of clean up everything before I do that. But we found the problem. Okay, so I cleaned everything. And this is the bottom. So this is, if you look here, that's the part number. But when you, like I said, when you put the order in at Amazon, you just need to, there's the small sensor, here's the big one. Oh, and another little sensor. I don't know what that one is. Maybe just in case. All right, so this is a very, very similar part. It's exactly the same, actually. It doesn't matter which ones go where, but we're gonna go ahead and place this where it goes. You can't mix it up. There we go. You can't mix up the orientation. All right. So being very careful with these, I'm gonna place one inside here all the way, and I'm gonna bend the tab down to keep it in there. And I'll bend it up. That way it doesn't come out. And I'll place the other one in there, being very careful. I don't want to overstress these connections at all. And I'll bend the tab up this time as well. And they're not able to come out. All right, let's line her up here. I want to avoid touching. I want to avoid touching this at all costs. Because I think the less contaminants on there, the better. So I already see a challenge. The challenge will be to line this up all together with the screw holes. There's a challenge there. Okay. Now you want everything kind of tight because when this dryer gets turned on, it's gonna rattle and it's gonna cause vibrations, and you don't want everything to be making this sound. You don't want that. So make sure these are tight. And we have two left right here. And we're almost ready to put the sensors back, or to put the new sensors on. I mean, the old sensors are good, but they put the new sensors in the kit, so we may as well change them all out. Typically, I don't like to mess with something that's already running well, but don't know what these sensors do. Alright, so as you can see, the blue will go here, the red will go here, this sensor will go in here, and this sensor will go in here. Basically, I'm going to take them one at a time, off one at a time, and switch them out. Okay, so I've taken the old sensors and I've taken those off and put the new sensors on. Now what I'll do is mount the sensors in their area. Be careful not to scratch the sensors against the metal. I'm not sure if that'll make any difference in operation or not, but it's a good practice not to. Sensors are sometimes on the delicate side. Alright, we'll mount those. Not tight yet. I'll get them all mounted and then we'll tighten them up at the end. Be careful, this metal, this stamped metal is very sharp, so don't work too fast. Just always keep in mind that it can cut you really quick. And also this metal is scratching my dryer. So if you're really concerned about that, you know, put a towel across this before you start working, because it will scratch. I'm not really worried about it, because the dryer is inside of a room that you don't usually go in, or that, you know, guests don't usually go in, so it doesn't matter to me if it's scratched. Okay. All right, got them tight. Last thing is, this one goes here, the blue one, and the red one goes here. And they're a good fit. They're a good fit. They don't come out. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put this back in here first. Then I'm gonna mount the carrier. Put it in the dryer, and I'm gonna mount this carrier in there next. So as you can see, I've mounted everything. They're in the back. They're in the back. Everything is lined up. Everything's lined up. It's hard to see. Everything's lined up. The new elements installed. I just have to connect. I have to connect this connector here with the connector here. I have to connect these two together. I also have to put this cover back on. Make sure you clean that out because it was kind of clogged. And look inside here. There's a little sensor down in there. That sensor was blocked also, and I'm not sure if that controls something with the automatic moisture sensing or something like that, but anything's possible. Just do a quick clean before you put everything back. So let me connect this, put this cover on, and then I'll show you how to put the door back on. Okay, so I have this cover back on. I have that connected. Everything's tight. I just need to take these two screws out right here. These are the two that I'm going to mount the door on. Now, I also wanted to show you, I gotta take it out with a screwdriver. I also wanted to show you the bottom. You want to line these 3 tabs up with the bottom of the door assembly. All right, we're gonna place that on and connect that connector. Okay, just mounted the door, and I'm just gonna put these 2 screws on and these 4 screws on, and those 4 screws are right up here. I've put them there. So, okay, all 4 screws are in. Now I want you to take a look at these tabs here on the bottom of the control panel. These tabs go right in these holes right here, and this is most dryers. So again, some of these will be different. This is kind of an older model, but they should all match. Okay, all screws here are good. The panel's nice and tight. Last thing we're gonna do is place the top panel on, push it forward, and put the 2 screws in the back, and then plug it back in. If you want, you know, you can clean all your lint and all that stuff off. I'm probably gonna use a wet wipe and clean some of that off before I put all that. So again, thanks for watching. I know this is gonna be a success. So join us next time on I Just Fix It Myself.